Constitutional Planning member recounts early days. 25 years of service to the Grand Chief. And POMGEN steps up visitation restrictions.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. A former member of the Constitutional Planning Committee recounted Sir Michael Somare's leadership as the committee chairman and how they passed the Constitution at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mackenzie Daugi was the regional member for Northern Province in the old House of Assembly when he and 15 others were tasked by Sir Michael to consult with the people of Papua New Guinea and write a new constitution. Mr. Daugi, who is also 84 years old, reminded everyone that with the passing of Sir Michael, there are now only 4 remaining members of the committee.
In 1972, the Constitutional Planning Committee was established by the House of Assembly. It was headed by Chairman and Chief Minister Michael Somare and his deputy was John Momis. There were 14 other members of the Constitutional Planning Committee. Some of the most notable names included Tay Abal, Paulus Arek, Angmai Bilas, John Geis and John Caputin. Last night at the Grand Chief's house cry, one of the 4 surviving members of the Constitutional Planning Committee spoke about Sir Michael's leadership as Chief Minister and Committee Chairman.
And this is my Bible for the nation.
Mackenzie Daugi was born in 1936, the same year as Sir Michael. He was the regional House of Assembly member for Northern Province when he was tasked with the 15 others to develop the new constitution. The 84-year-old described Sir Michael as a man of great wisdom and a man who was a unifying force when Papua New Guinea was in its formative years. As a member of the committee, the team led by John Momis travelled to all 89 districts and sought the people's views on what should be included in the Constitution.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, we passed the Constitution. This is a document. Work from Grand Chief.
Mr. Daugi's speech gave an insight into the past of a group of young men who had no reference point from where to start, a group of adventurers who sought their people's wisdom to build a new country. Oro Governor Gary Jufa cut his speech short, an impassioned speech, a lot of emotion and a plea for the future.
This man loved this country so much and gave everything for it. And we have to ensure that we do not let this go to waste, that we do not let this nation be torn apart by ill management, by corruption, by politics, whatever, that we must work to maintain this love that he had for this country, a united Papua New Guinea.
At the end, the Oro community honoured Sir Michael and Lady Veronica with gifts for a chief, ceremonial weapons, tapa cloth, bilums, a necklace and a hornbill's headdress. The highest honour given only to chiefs. Scott Waide, National EMTV News.
Also last night, the Milne Bay community acknowledged Sir Michael's recognition of Milne Bay women who played important roles in the formative years of the country. Former diplomat Robert Igara named senior women who served in the public service and politics, including Dame Josephine Abijah and Dame Rose Kekedo. Under Sir Michael, the government also established the Office of Women's Affairs in the early years.
But I also want to acknowledge especially and record our gratitude and our pride that the Grand Chief had recognized our mothers, who were also called upon to serve and undertake senior executive roles throughout the government in those early years of independence. Ms. Dawa Solomon, the first university graduate of Papua New Guinea, woman graduate, who became a member of the Public Service Commission. Dame Rose Kekedo, Secretary for Labour. Dame Jean Kekedo, Acting Secretary for Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. Ms. Felicia Dobonaba, Assistant Director, National Planning, and subsequently Secretary for Home Affairs and Youth, and Ms. Joyce Grant, recently General Secretary of the National Alliance Party. And behind the support of our sons and daughters, I asked myself, what did the Grand Chief see in us, the Milne people? And the answer came to me through one of my colleagues in a reference that the Grand Chief prepared for him as he sought a role internationally. And this is what Grand Chief said. He is not afraid to speak truth to authority, but will always implement decisions that are made. And in humbleness, on behalf of my people and those who have walked before me, I acknowledge with deep gratitude the value and character that Grand Chief saw in us. We served with commitment and humility.
Governor General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dada has advised NEC to urgently recall a meeting of Parliament. This is by virtue of powers conferred to him under the Constitution and the organic law on the calling of meetings of Parliament. The meeting of Parliament will be on Thursday, 11th of March at 10 a.m. This is to allow the casket of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare to lie in state. All members of Parliament are therefore asked to attend this important meeting. Among the many loyal friends, family and relatives, there is Puki, the loyal bodyguard or close protection officer who had served the Grand Chief for 25 years, even during his last few days at the hospital.
I worked with him 25 years. As a policeman.
Ekonia Puki joined the Papua New Guinea Royal Constabulary in 1973, just before PNG received self-governance in December of 1973. A few years in the force and he went into close protection officer training. In 1990, he was nominated by his bosses to work for the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare.
1990, Sir Michael Somare, been stopped, I think, Minister of Foreign Affairs. So, this time we see me long first moon long January 1990. Law work wanted me as a bodyguard.
When Sir Michael became the opposition leader again in 1992 in the 5th National Parliament, Puki remained with him.
Time ago, opposition leader, Olga Taigo, and me, one brother, told me, been staff under him, and me at the Holy Mistap.
Senior Constable Ekonia Puki retired in 2013 after 40 years of service.
So, time me finished too, me stop long house. But
just before Sir Michael's passing, the Somares brought him over and he served this great chief for the last time.
Oh, time me come up long house. I'm smile on me, I'm call him name below me. I'm talking yes to me come. So now go, I'm looking me, I'm smile on me come, talk sit down. Sit down. There's a time lost Tuesday night. I think me fly funny, laugh.
For him, he is family.
I can't describe him, little man. Passing plongen. Narapalakay man.
A true tale of family is not often by blood, but the friends that life brings to you who remain loyal and true to you till the end.
Miss him through me and family below me. Miss him.
On behalf of his people of Vunabuk, Wartam Island in East New Britain province, Puki sends his condolence.
Sorry to long me play Lucim. On Papa Blue play at Lo Nation. Papa Blue Milgata. person ambre tok sorry turu.
Shamin Poriambev, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guineans remember the Grand Chief in their own way through personal experiences or encounters. For the member for Maprik, John Simon, he reflects on the trust Sir Michael had in him to become the next MP for Maprik District.
This is how history was told to John Simon by two great men in PNG, the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare and Sir Peter Luce, of why there was a need for self-governance and independence.
I went around asking them, how did it happen? Why it happened and how it happened? And Sir Michael told me one of the reasons why he did that. Papua New Guineans were not allowed to go to the hotels. Papua New Guineans were not allowed to go to clubs. Those hotels and clubs and certain places were restricted. They were only restricted to the Australians. They were only restricted to the white men. Not for black men. We are Kanakas. We were known as natives. And those are the things that drive the whole man, drive Sir Michael. He said, no, I cannot stand to see my country like this. I need to fight for it.
Simon's memory of Sir Michael goes back to when he ventured into the unknown field of politics.
So 2011, Sir Michael went up to Maprik. I was in the village. And he was on his way in a chopper to Bongos to see the oil palm project that was established by Tony Aimo. And the chopper landed in Maprik, and Sir Michael called for me come to Maprik now. He said, I'm here to take you with me on a chopper ride to Bongos. But before I do that, is there a place that I can stand and declare you as my candidate for 2012? I said, sir, there's no grandstand. But if we can go up to the police station, there's a landing bay there, there's a veranda there. So we walked up to the police station. He went up to the police station, we brought him a mic, and he announced me as his candidate, and I was shocked, and I said, Papa, election in on yet. I'm no campaign, you me talk out the soul.
In the 2012 election, John Simon wasn't only campaigning for himself, but for Sir Michael as well, out of frustration that he was called a stranger in Parliament.
And I supported Sir Michael, I stood for him. Everyone asked, why are you supporting him? And I said, for the last time I need to support him. We need to retain him as the regional member for ECB, so that Papua New Guinea will know that we have respect for the whole man. Regardless, if they say that he's a stranger in the house, we need to show to them that we have respect for this whole man.
One can never truly appreciate another person's contribution in life until their seat is empty. Like many, Simon acknowledges the rise in his political career to the father of the nation.
I am here today as the current member for Maprik, and many things happen in my political journey as serving my second term as member of Maprik, and currently as the Minister for Agriculture under the leadership of our current Prime Minister.
Shamin Poriambeb, National EMTV News.
Moresby's former Premier and member for Buang, Titi Christian, says the Grand Chief has completed his mission of leading PNG into independence. Christian said PNG is blessed with natural resources that can generate the country's revenue if it's managed properly. He called on the current and future leaders to unite and give PNG its economic independence.
Independent by companies or same, political independent. And now you must now must look long tomorrow or you must work hard now long, bring him economic independent. 4 years time now, but you reach him 50th anniversary now. So Namiro is the time and you mean okay, borrow. Gaman you mean or leaders today must look now long. Tomorrow, time you mean 1050, you must economically independent and onward for the sake of future generations. No name bro this la big man bro you me, Sir Michael Thomas Somare, the great man. Thank you, East Pacific people.
And we go live now to the Sejongai's indoor complex where the house cry for Sir Michael is being held. Tonight we have the provinces New Ireland, East New Britain and West New Britain. We join Scott Wider there at the Sejongai's indoor complex. Scott, over to you.
Thank you, Dennis. There's a large delegation from New Ireland here tonight, and it's led by the Deputy Governor of the New Ireland province. And alongside the guests up in front is Sir Julius Chan. Sir Julius's presence has added a lot of value to this meeting tonight, and it marks a special occasion for New Islanders, and particularly the Somare family and people of Papua New Guinea, because Sir Julius was Deputy Prime Minister. He is one of Sir Michael's closest ally, and they have a lot of shared history together over the last 40 years. And tonight's occasion will begin with speeches, the arrival of guests, which hasn't happened yet. There's a large delegation outside just waiting to come in. And that delegation will be led by the chiefs from various clans in New Ireland. They'll be going up in front, and in the middle of the program they'll be doing a custom walk where they'll present honors to Sir Michael as the Grand Chief. And for New Islanders here it's very significant because several things. One is that New Islanders hold Sir Michael in great esteem. So Sir Julius will be participating tonight as a participant in that custom walk. It will be led by the Deputy Governor and a chief from a New Ireland clan. That's the update we have from tonight. The choirs have begun. And there'll be a lot more tonight. So when we come back, we'll be crossing live to the action that's happening right now.
Thank you, Scott. More tributes in other parts of the country, and we will cross live again to the house cry at the Sejongai's indoor complex after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. People all over Hela are flocking into Tari town to join the country to show respect and mourn for the passing of PNG's first Prime Minister. Men, women and children painted their faces carrying placards while marching into the main Tari town. They join millions around the country at this time of loss. Many say under the watch of Sir Michael Somare, Hela came to be a province and established its arms of government. He also played an important role to initiate the PNG LNG project in Hela province, the host of the project. And in Western Province, mourners also paid their respect. Men, women and children gathered at the main oval in Kiunga yesterday to express their grief and pay tribute to the Grand Chief. Dressed in black, they marched to the field carrying the PNG flag. PNG Defence Force soldiers at the Forward Operation Base led a small parade and assisted in the flag raising ceremony. The national anthem saw more people crying than singing. The provincial administrator, Ruben Tabua, on behalf of the people in Western Province, thanked the Somares for sharing the Grand Chief with PNG. The chief representative of JICA PNG office, Masato Koinuma, took the time today during an agreement ceremony to pass condolences to the family of Sir Michael Somare. He also acknowledged the Grand Chief as the first Papua New Guinean to receive Japan's highest honorary award in 2015.
I would like to offer my sincere condolences to Lady Veronica Somare and family, the national government, colleagues, friends, on the passing of the late Grand Chief, Sir Michael Thomas Somare. We would pay utmost respect to his significant roles and brilliant achievements toward the development of Papua New Guinea, including health sector development. It's great reminiscence that Sir Somare was the first Papua New Guinean to receive Japan's highest honorary award, the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun, back in May 2015.
In other news, with the recent surge of COVID-19 cases in the nation's capital, surveillance and triaging protocols have been stepped up at PNG's largest referral hospital, Port Moresby General Hospital. A recent circular states that there is widespread community transmission of COVID-19 in NCD, reflected by an increased number of COVID-19 cases presented to the emergency department. This is anticipated to affect the turnaround of patients. Despite the hospital continuing to provide services amidst the surge, Port Moresby General Hospital is going one step further to mitigate and safeguard inpatients and staff by restricting hospital visitations effective as of today, March 4th. The circular reads that only one guardian per patient will be allowed. This restriction, coupled with the strict enforcement of the no mask, no entry policy, will be enforced at all entry points of the hospital. Hospital security guards have been directed as of today, 4th of March 2021, to strictly enforce these measures. And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina will buy $0.2775, $0.3521 Australian dollars, $0.2218 euro and 28.05 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and cocoa closed lower, copra closed higher. Palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 126.92 points lower, the ASX 200 is trading at 55.68 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 57.97 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. Owing to reports of a judge being tested to COVID-19 and the possibility of further infection to staff, both judicial and administrative, the Chief Justice has directed for a partial shutdown of the Supreme and National Courts. The shutdown is effective as of Friday, 5th of March 2021, and for a period of 1 week. This will be reviewed on Friday, 12th of March 2021. Judges will continue to work as per their individual schedules, as well as their personal staff to assist judges. This means only essential staff will come into work during the shutdown period. Courtrooms have closed today and tomorrow as well to allow for further fumigation. Court hearings will recommence next Monday. The number of persons entering courtrooms must be restricted to key people associated with a case, and security personnel will ensure compliance. The Justice COVID-19 team is working to bring on-site testing facilities for judges, and staff have been encouraged to try out the free testing facilities in suburban clinics. Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas says education standards in the country have dropped in the last 10 years and needs improvement. Governor Ipatas made these remarks recently during the opening of 5 new classrooms and an administration block at Ayak Primary School in Enga Province. The governor is calling on the Education Department to admit and fix the problem.
Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas is well known as the father of free education. He wants the national government to fix the standard and quality of education in the country. He said the outcome-based education that was introduced in 2012 has tremendously affected students' learning, which has resulted in poor academic performances and weak output in the last 10 years. Sir Peter Ipatas said PNG must look at producing quality teachers with high grades to achieve quality teaching at all levels of education.
Yes, only graduate one have certificate. That's all sabe, only no kissing me up long grade 12. So I'm work from you, me, mama, papa, teachers, all the stakeholders, no try to fix it.
Sir Peter Ipatas said more focus should be on PNG's human resource as the future of the country. This is by providing quality education and not to entertain cheating or certifying students with low grades.
Standard quality education. Quality education or standard education.
The Enga provincial government, under the leadership of the governor, will do away with the elementary grades and introduce early childhood learning in the province. Children aged 1 to 6 years old will start learning at the Early Childhood Center to help develop their mindsets and prepare them for formal education.
One of you becomes a scientist. One of you becomes a civil engineer. That's always been our dream. We are walking the talk. We'll make sure that you guys succeed. We're talking about your future.
Sir Peter officially opened 5 classrooms and an administration block, a science lab and a library at Ayak Primary School recently. It was funded at a cost of 500,000 kina by the Enga Children Trust Fund. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
2 secondary schools and a primary school in Yalibu Pangia electorate are proud recipients of Telecom PNG's Clean IT program. Telecom PNG Limited, through its not-for-profit organization Telecom Foundation, has partnered with Book Belong Pikinini and the local district development authority by donating free books and e-learning materials. It is part of Telecom's community obligation in providing clean IT programs to unfortunate schools in the country.
The schools are Yalibu and Pangia Secondary and Williame Primary School in Southern Highlands Province. They have received 30 iPads each, which contains 3 million information and books that will help schools in rural and remote areas have access to information both online and offline.
It contains information that is in offshore library. It contains articles that are written by renowned authors right throughout the world. And you will also have access to the big libraries globally. And many schools who are performing much better than some of the secondary schools is as a result of the technology that we giving out, donating.
Telecom PNG Foundation have also partnered with Yalibu Pangia DDA and Book Belong Pikinini by donating quality reading books and learning materials to Williame Primary School. The books and the e-learning materials will benefit children in South Wiru, one of the remote places in Southern Highlands. It is a dream come true for these schools to help improve literacy rates in the province.
So me like challenging school or same. Me like Karim was some good plus something na results bakam lo this la school ta me like game all this la all book now computer something lo you pla.
The donations come at a time when the province is going through a rough time of students performing low academically in the national examination. This has been brought to the attention of the provincial administrator Dr. Joseph Kajestan, who had ordered for a review in the provincial education system.
You may try to walk forward, like kissing province na, or Pikinini, you platugan, at least making me proud, Mamas. So one time is la.
Meanwhile, Telecom Foundation will continue to support unfortunate schools, especially in the remote areas, to provide a clean IT program by donating e-learning materials so that they can have access to information just like the schools in the towns and cities. This is to help improve learning and for them to compete academically with the town schools.
Also gone out and implemented some of them in Jiwaka, and several other provinces throughout Papua New Guinea. And what we're seeing is that the students are so clever that they're challenging the teachers in the classroom. So the teachers, knowing that they are being challenged in their own field, what do? They need to educate themselves more to come into the classroom to challenge you or give you more information.
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
A loan agreement was signed today between the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and the PNG government. Treasury Minister Ian Lingstaki and Chief Representative of PNG JICA office, Masato Koinuma, were present to sign the agreement. This is JICA's approach to financially assist PNG combat COVID-19.
The signing of the loan agreement took place at the Treasury building today, with representatives from JICA and the Treasury Minister Ian Ling Staki.
The loan amount of 30 billion Japanese yen, approximately 1 billion PNG kina, with the favorable terms and conditions of 0.01 interest rate per annum and 4 years grace period, is beneficial to the current economy of PNG.
A loan of 30 billion Japanese yen was offered to assist the national government's response to combat COVID-19 in the country by supporting the national government's budget.
The objective of this COVID-19 crisis response emergency support loan is to enhance public financial management, improve subnational health system management, and support the government's COVID-19 emergency response by providing budget support, thereby contributing to the promotion of socio-economic stability and development of Papua New Guinea.
This loan agreement came about as a result of PNG's request for friendly international support. The Treasury Minister expressed gratitude to the Japanese government through JICA for financial assistance and said the loan will support critical investments in health and particularly PNG's COVID-19 response.
We've used our COVID funding, this will be no exception, to strengthen our regional health centres, so that they can address the COVID risks, which lately seems to have increased.
With the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in the nation, the Japanese government is working closely with the PNG government to combat the disease. JICA's COVID-19 Crisis Response Emergency Support Program is one of the instances. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. Details after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Sports Talk will be hosting the 4th edition of their Rugby Sevens tournament slated for 3rd to the 4th of March at Bava Park in Port Moresby. The Sports Talk Sevens will see 24 teams from around the country battle it out for honours and prize money, with talented players hoping to put in performances attracting the attention of national selectors.
Building on the success of last year's tournament, the organisers of the Sports Talk Sevens are gearing up for a bigger and better tournament this year. Due to the COVID lockdown last year, the 2020 tournament was postponed from its original April date and was eventually hosted in November last year at Bava Park in Port Moresby, with the Papuan Compound Ravens of Lae claiming the cup, defending the title as tournament champions.
We have 24 teams confirmed, and yeah, we're looking forward to those teams coming. A lot more of those teams are from outside of Port Moresby. There's about 4 teams coming from Daru, so yeah, we're waiting to see that excitement there. There's a couple of teams from Kimbay. There's one from Stallions are coming back from Rabaul, right? And then obviously the big guns, teams from Lae and the CRU clubs as well, plus obviously our other clubs from the sister union.
With more teams from outside centres confirming their participation for the 2021 edition of the tournament, demonstrating their appetite for the code and tapping into the growth and interest in Rugby Sevens from around the country.
We had probably 1 team from Daru, and now they got 4 coming over. And Medain's got about another 2 teams or 3 teams coming across, so it's always an opportunity for the outside teams. They don't get to play in those kind of big games. It's an opportunity for them to bring their players and showcase. Obviously, those, the big guns teams will be always there, but it's always good for those, minnows to come and just express their talent out on the field. And they've always had the big support. these unknown teams, you know, and they're getting better every year. This is the fourth year for Sports Talk to host the Sevens tournament, Easter tournament. So as a committee member, we're looking forward to the excitement the Sevens will bring as well.
Haksi Lovai, Trukai Sports.
Next up in Trukai Sports, tough challenges for New Zealand in hosting the Women's World Cup.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. This report reveals why hosting the Women's World Cup this year became too difficult for organisers and the New Zealand government. The tournament aimed to be the greatest ever, but COVID risks along with some issues has made the World Cup committee to postpone the game until next year.
Dream of the first Eden Park sellout for women's rugby is on hold, and it affects everyone.
I woke up this morning to an email. Pretty devastated. I think at the moment words can't really explain how gutted.
Over 600 players, officials, match officials.
Well, over 3,000 staff are affected directly as a result of cancellation of the event at Eden Park.
The stadium stands to lose hundreds of thousands for every postponed game. The first reason is COVID. No one could guarantee over 600 international visitors wouldn't be infected. How would the tournament even run if an entire squad had to go home? Then there's the costs, which have skyrocketed under COVID. World Rugby even stepped in to pay for team travel, but it wasn't enough. One News understands part of the reason to postpone was because organisers here struggled with the idea of footing the bill for up to 700 people in managed isolation. Also, the government refused to help out by setting up training facilities in managed isolation.
Just those conversations were ongoing, and we were looking at a variety of different options. In the end, we won't need to do that now.
Who pays for the isolation of all those people?
World Rugby, New Zealand Rugby and New Zealand Government have been working together on how we share the costs.
But the biggest reason for the postponement is that a World Cup has to inspire. A potential lockdown could ruin everything. It's why the Women's Cricket World Cup also moved from this year to 2022, when things are hopefully easier.
Now, we understand what a postponement's like. We've been through it ourselves, but I guess what I'd say is that extra year has given us an amazing opportunity.
It's been about empowering women and girls and you know, supercharging the game and just showing that, you know, women's rugby has arrived.
So I just think 2022 is going to be a great year for women's sport, just got better by one event.
Add in the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023 and New Zealand could have 3 Women's World Cups in the space of 18 months.
We now cross over to the Sejong Guys Indoor Stadium, where the New Ireland Governor, Sir Julius Chan, Treasurer Ian Ling-Starkey and other leaders of New Ireland, including chiefs and the New Ireland community in Port Moresby, are doing their customary obligations to honour the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare.
Bye.
At this juncture, I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of the member for Aitapilumi, Honourable Patrick Pruich. Once again, I call upon Pastor John Wesley to give a devotional message to start the proceedings for this evening.
Distinguished guests, the family of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare, and friends. A short devotional to the honor of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare.
Just a reminder, the house cry will be live streamed on our Facebook page, MTV Online, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You're watching National MTV News, the weather forecast for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports. This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, cloudy with squally rains. Daru, cloudy periods with some squally showers. Kerma, cloudy with a few showers. Alotau, cloudy with some showers. Popondetta, cloudy periods with brief showers. To the Momase region, Wewak and Vanimo, partly cloudy with brief showers. Madang, brief evening showers. Lay, cloudy periods with brief evening showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Kimbe, cloudy with showers and possible thunderstorms. Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, cloudy with some showers. To the Highlands region, all centers will have cloudy with a few showers, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, 4th of March 2021. Just a reminder, the house cry will be live streamed on our Facebook page, MTV Online, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. From all of us here at MTV, pleasant viewing. Good night.